Were girls coming into the picture?
Yeah.
What was their, I'm thinking white dad seeing his daughter with a hood rat, they probably called you. What was up? I mean, how did you handle that?
Yeah, so
I know we're supposed to just be introducing each other, but this is fascinating. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sue me. I just want to know. So tell me.
Yeah, but this is stuff I really never told. My dad loved me and was as part of my life as much as he could.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that he did tell me was he said, "Don't you ever have sex with a girl. Your whole life is going to change. She's going to try to get you pregnant. They're going to try." He basically told me his experience of divorce and they're going to get you for money and all this stuff. Well, I'm like a teenager or something, right? Like 13, 14. Like I had no idea what he's talking about.
You believe in all this?
But it did scare the crap out of me. Like, so I would go all the way up to the point of intercourse. And then I'm like, dude, I'm not doing that. Like, and so I can tell you that advice and having a dad in the house saved me from 9 out of 10 of my friends who made those wrong mistakes,
Yeah.
And eventually, like, there were even rumors going into my later high school years that, like, maybe I was gay, because they were like, dude, what kind of a guy gets with that girl and won't do it, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so the girls would start feeling insecure. So they started rumoring to it, I think he's gay. Like, like, how could he not?
Wow.
So there was a rumor for a while that, like, maybe I was gay.
You finally shook the hood image and now you're a virgin gay person.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So did their dads welcome you? I mean, were they trying to be cool to you or were they pretty obviously hating the fact that she's come home with this weird kid from the neighborhood, from the hood?
So when I turned 16, 17, I ran away from my house. I got into trouble with the law.
What?
I got arrested. So I ran away from my house.
How did I not know that? Okay.
And then I really never came back. So I was living with one of my friends my last year and a half of high school. It was crazy to think about. I was sleeping in his little computer room, his mom's computer room, and I was sleeping on the floor in a sleeping bag. And that's where I slept the last year and a half.
Year and a half?
Yeah, I slept on the floor there.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it weird?
Because my dad raised me camping and stuff, I didn't mind.
Wasn't weird for you?
Yeah, I didn't mind. And also I was really stressed out being at the house. And so it was like cool being with your friend,
Yeah,
and there was no dad in the house.
Relief.
Yeah, there was no dad in the house. So I just, but so I also got introduced to God at this time as well. So there was a girl that she was like what I thought was like, what do you call it? Like the queen of the school.
The
she would always,
queen.
Yeah. And then, so we had some classes together and I liked her.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it was like a big culture class. Cause here I am like, this kind of ghetto kid on the football team and then her. And she was like 4.0, going to school on academic scholarship, going to be a doctor. And so we kind of like secretly started dating a little bit. Like we were going to the carnivals and stuff together.
That sounds like a movie.
Bro, it was crazy because like no one knew we were dating. Or I don't even know if we were like officially dating, but we were definitely going on dates.
You hadn't defined it yet?
Yeah. And we were hugging all the time whenever we see each other and just, talk notes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then I remember like she wanted to introduce me to her dad. And you talk about two people going on total different life paths. I mean, she's going to University of Washington, full ride academic scholarship. She's like one of the smartest people in the school.
You're hoping to get picked up by the Saints.
And dude, I'm like, flunking, like, getting arrested, living at my friend's house. Like, and so it was a serious culture class. But one thing she did do was she introduced me to God and helped me understand those kind of things. And so she was like the first person who kind of like started opening that door into my life of spirituality. But yeah, it didn't end up working. But what was funny is we definitely had a really serious thing, but like there was just such a culture clash that we just couldn't figure out how to make that work.
Couldn't get it to work.
Yeah. But
well, it's probably almost a survivable breakup, It's just there's no way.
Yeah.
I mean, was that how it went?
Yeah. I mean, I ended up not graduating high school. Like I found out a couple days before high school I wasn't going to graduate. None of my D1 stuff was going to come through, all this stuff. And then I thought like, crap, like she's going to be speaking at our graduation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm not even walking, like, you know? And so I ended up getting my high school stuff a couple months later during summer school, but
got a note in the mail. You're no longer welcome to our scholarship program.
Yeah. I mean,
that sucked.
It was a huge thing. Cause like, you know, I was ready to go. And it was like a couple days before school ended. It was like two or 3 days before. The vice principal walked up to me, who I didn't like. I had a very bad relationship with him. And he said, "Hey, I don't know if you know this, but you're not going to graduate. You're not going to walk. And we just talked to your college, and your scholarship's going to be voided in 3 days." And I'm like, "Thanks, bro."
Yeah.
Bye. And so, yeah, it was crazy. But, you know, one crazy thing about all of that happening, my senior year, I was asked to be in the leadership class for seniors and who they think can go on to leadership. And so this is where I started realizing.
Hang on a second. Who saw something in you? Because you sound like that kid that's a rock star athlete. They freaking can put points on the board in any sport, but he's a thug.
Yeah.
He's a cancer.
Yeah. So like by my senior year, my junior year, I was too busy like smoking drugs, doing stupid stuff. So like I basically just went down to one sport. I just went down to football. So I was just kind of like a football guy, and then I would just play sports like summer league stuff or whatever. But the lady who ran the leadership program at the high school, she thought I was like, she had talked to me in the hallway, and she just thought I had some skills. And so she told me to sign up for her class, and I had no idea what that was, you know, but it was like real leadership stuff. It was really cool.
First time someone reached out and said, "Hey, I want you in a class."
Yes. Very first time. And well, I'd been asked to go to a class before, but it was like the opposite of the spectrum. It was like detention you know, like, and then from that one, there was a guy who ran this other class called the entrepreneurship class. Okay. And then he asked me, he said, "Hey, you should come join my class." So I signed up I didn't even know how to spell entrepreneurship, you know, but long story short there, in the entrepreneurship class, this is when I really started like, truly, I didn't even know what was going on, but I went from like, I mean, literally everyone in the class was like, "What the hell is Smiley, the ghetto like thug doing here?" You know? And some of my football player friends were in there. And it was kind of like a funny joke, you know, that whole Smiley's in here, you know, probably because they need a minority, you know, like literally like we were all just joking around about that. And my projects ended up like being number one. I you know, the first time we had to develop an actual product or a service, like everyone just doing cheesy stuff, like, you know, t-shirts or whatever. And I came up with a cologne, and I called the brand Smell Me Now. And I developed the brand and the tags and all this stuff. And then I called some like, I would call companies that like made cologne. And I said, "Hey, I want to have a brand called Smell Me Now for my class." And they like made me a little logo for it. And long story short, I put it on like a Cool Water cologne thing, like an actual Cool Water cologne bottle.
I remember.
Yeah, but then and then I came up with a commercial for it and taglines, and had all my football friends in the commercial, and it won like the best thing, right? The best whatever was.
Dude, those are presentation moments.
It was. It was like I was like, holy crap! Like I actually did something cool that I thought was cool.
Yeah.
And then my teacher, he was just like, Smiley, he's like, "Dude, you have a mind for like entrepreneurism, man." He's like, "You should see how far you can go in this."
That's one of the reasons why I keep kind of asking these questions, and I'm curious because we've been out, you and I, and been approached by people that are, what are you doing here? And it's almost like they're starstruck. And I didn't even know that you had done these big coaching seminars and all these things, and you've got experience with some of the highest profiles in the business. And so this all started when you were 18 with a cologne idea.
Really did. Yeah. Smell Me Now. Fair? Yeah. Smell Me Now was like my first coming out. Like I was like, man, like what is entrepreneurism? And then then there was so the last half, the last quarter was, we had to have like a huge business that we had to develop. We had to have marketing and product development. And we could team with people or whatever. And so basically like half the class teamed together to do something. And I don't know, like I didn't know what to do. So like I would say like maybe 3 weeks before the end of the year when we're supposed to present, the teacher was really worried. He was like, what are you going to do? So he was trying to convince me to do the shampoo. And so he was telling me about, he's like, bro, he's like, I got this good idea, man, this shampoo, and here's how it fits in the market. And I was like, man, that's a stupid idea. Oh, and he's like, well, what would you do? He's like, what do you like? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I like music, cars, and girls. And I was like, what if I do like a huge car show with music and I call all these stereo companies and I get them to donate the stuff, and then I'll get girls to show. And he's like, whatever, man. He's like, try it. So long story short, in 3 weeks, okay, I contacted every one of my friends who had a nice car, okay? From coaches.
At your new school, that's a lot.
Yeah. So like, and they're bringing like their dad's sick rides and
you're driving
this
hoopty the whole time.
So I didn't have a car. I didn't even have a car. So like senior year, I really didn't even have a car. So I think I did have a car, but it was like broke down. So it's funny, like I got like 16 cars to show up, and I got the principal to approve that in the front, out in front of the foyer where all the kids walk up in the morning and there's like all the concrete, we loaded it up with cars. And then I sent letters. This is before email. I sent physical letters handwritten letters to
Pioneer,
Alpine, Phoenix Gold, all these companies. Well, Phoenix Gold sent me a $4,000 kit of speakers and amps, and I could not believe it. I got this ridiculous box sent to the school, and it said James Smiley on it. And I went down to pick it up, and I was like, what the hell is this? I was like, who's Phoenix Gold? You know, I didn't even remember, like, you know, but I wrote a convincing letter. I told them what day it was and what they would get on. I told them I'd send them photos and all this stuff. And they asked that I either pay for this stuff at a discount price or return it. So I ended up just returning it. But I featured all their stuff, had their stereos bumping and all that stuff, all their car. This is back when car stereo was like huge.
Yeah, that's all we did, man.
Yeah. And so
ridiculous boxes in the back of our Camaros.
Yeah. So like 10 days before, I'm realizing, dude, this is coming together. Like I got cars, I got speakers, there's going to be sick sound. And the school approved to have like an hour of the day. The last hour, no one went to class. They came to my thing.
Shut up.
Bro, it was crazy. I was like, you're telling me every single kid in 2,500, these 2,500 kids are going to be able to come to my event?
Yep.
I was like, holy crap. And so I was like, dude, this is so cool. And then, so the only thing I didn't have checked off was the girls. I was like, okay, man. Like, what am I going to do here?
Well, now it sounds like a pretty easy sell.
Right. So then I was like, okay, like, do I talk to some of my friends? I was like, they're not that hot. I was like thinking, and then, you know, man, I'm just an idiot kid who, you know, like porn, and that wasn't even out because there was no internet.
Yeah.
And so like, but I had been a retard who had like called into some like girl titty lines or something.
Yeah.
As a 16-year-old. So then I thought, strip clubs. And honestly, I'd never been to a strip club, but I was like, okay, so I just started calling all the strip clubs. And I said, hey, I'm doing this thing, blah, blah, blah. Can I talk to the owner? And I got to the owner of like 3 strip clubs. And I was like, bro, can you send down girls to this event? And you guys can hand out your business cards, you know, and you can make sure that you're handing them out to 18 people and up. But these girls aren't coming down as strippers. They're just coming down as models.
Yeah, just hot girls that are dressed.
Yeah, I just need models that are going to be in front of. So I got it approved from Deja Vu, which is like the biggest strip club in Seattle. And then, so people were like, bro, you are not getting girls from Deja Vu. I'm like, what is Deja Vu, bro? I've never been there. But I was like, yeah, bro, I got like this guy the owner to agree, sending 6 girls from Deja Vu. And so I told the teacher, and the teacher's like, okay, dude, like we got to figure out how to sell this to the principal. But you know, when you go to when you're in a liberal area, bro, like anything goes, right? Man. So do you think the principal was down? Was he like, yeah. Exactly, right? When I told him, he was like, I think this is going to be pretty good.
Okay.
So
bring on the strippers.
Yeah, he even asked me. He's like, can I be out there like supervising? You know, during. I'm like, whatever, bro. Of course you can come to my event. So it was crazy, bro. Like I had this huge thing, and this was the same week I got told that I wasn't going to graduate. Probably like 2 days before. I maybe 2 or 3 days before. So this huge event happened, and dude, to be honest, I just had no idea what was going on, right? Like all my friends had come up, and I was just directing and telling them to do all this stuff. And then the principal, I remember like that all happened, and the principal and all these teachers, and they were like, Smiley, you pulled this off? Like you literally organized all this?
It would seem so.
They were like, who the heck? Like, they're like, come on, man. Like, did you have a company do this? And I'm like, no, I literally made all these phone calls, blah, blah, blah.